and welcome to the Manifest That Shit podcast. This is your girl, Latoya Beverly, aka your spiritual guide and business coach. This is a place where we're going to be talking about money, sex, and love, unapologetic, real, raw, uncut, and no strings attached. I'm going to be talking about how to slay, hustle, inspire, and thrive always, because that's what we do here at the Manifest That Shit podcast. So I look forward to seeing you in this upcoming episode. Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Latoya Beverly, for the Manifest That Shit podcast in episode 8. I am super excited to be back live with you all. So we are kicking off this episode with a bang. We're going to be talking about claiming your sacred sexuality, what that looks like in the divine feminine, and really doing a deep dive as far as what does that look like being Mother Earth. I believe that each of us are not only queens, but we truly represent Mother Earth. What are we birthing in our everyday rituals? What are we birthing into our right to be free and to speak up and to not be silenced? And what are we causing also within ourselves as far as suffering in money, love, and sex? And so let's just go ahead and get into it. So I'm doing this episode specifically for the survivors and for those who maybe never had to deal with sexual abuse, right? Or any type of violation. A week ago, I had the opportunity to be on my girlfriend Salua's Self-Made Successful Women panel, and it really had me thinking about a comment that was told to me after I had been speaking. And another woman, a queen, walked up to me and she said, I really like that you didn't allow the situation to define you. And honestly, after all the healing, all the love, all the forgiveness, all the of the journey that I had to go on to get to where I am today, I can truly confidently say the situation has not defined me. I mean, it's really like a faint memory at this point, and I don't allow it to continue to be powerful in my space. And so, I never had, you guys, an issue with my sexuality when I was younger. I never had an issue with being free-spirited and loving and, just happy-go-lucky, and I never allowed for anybody to take that away. I think a lot of prayer. I think my faith in God. I think seeing God work tremendously in my everyday life and get me out of the trenches of what I was going through at that time. I think that all of the changes that I went through, being able to focus on success in school and achieving and putting all of my hard work and efforts into, then later on corporate America and my job and climbing the ladder. There were a lot of things that came to me when I realized just how my feminine expression was getting out there. How is it that I was defining success and living my life and fulfilling me? And then realizing later on that I was completely dead and empty and silenced after all of it was said and done. So I think that those who are on the spiritual journey and those who are constantly seeking to find themselves and to go deeper, going deeper is not as easy as what we all may think. Sometimes it allows us to go into dark places, and sometimes it allows us to kind of live in a place of denial. I was in denial big time as I was healing and going through my issues. As an adult, my sexual abuse did not become a true story until I was married and divorced and with my ex-husband, and his level of security did not make me feel secure as a queen, as a woman. And just the respect that we had or lacked in our home, it brought up a lot of feelings. So I say this to you, ladies. and as well as men. It's with great honor that we have to step 110% into what it is and who it is we are. And we have to be willing to forgive those who were ignorantly just trying to figure it out themselves. You know, I didn't have, my relationship was weakened between me and my mom at the time, because of the choices of what she thought she was just doing right. And I can truly say that as someone who is, growing her own family, I better understand the choices and the decisions that you sometimes feel that you're making for the betterment of your family, but you truly are lacking how that's going to affect your children and everybody else around you, right? And so, you think you're doing the good part of practicing forgiveness or saying you must forgive, the abuser, but it really is a place where it takes time. Time could be years, and to have someone else kind of not instigating, but being a part of the situation and not allowing it to heal, it really makes things continue on and really suffer. And so today I am able to, with the deepest gratitude, I think appreciate people with compassion. I learned two things on my journey: to not only forgive, but to find compassion, to find that mercy in forgiveness. I think mercy comes first and then compassion, and when you're able to find compassion, you're able to compassionately detach. And that was one of the words that was very strong in my journey of healing. It is truly a word. And when I looked it up, and when I was also told and respected by the boundaries I had put up for myself, I realized that I was okay, and you are okay, to love people from afar, to protect yourself as you should. Your sexuality is sacred. It is divine. It is part of your feminine energy, whether you are male or female. And you were discounted, you were violated, you were persecuted, and you were just not respected for the queen that you are. And I think that for those who are angry still and who want to find more, and who've found love or forgiveness in the wrong places, and what I mean by that is there were moments when in my 20s and after getting divorced where I was out there. I was, having sexual encounters and relationships, and I was looking for something that was gone. I was looking for something that was not there because I really needed to dig deep and love myself, and I couldn't. I was so seeking love from someone else and from them to carry the baggage that I was carrying and to be that hero. And you guys, I could tell you right now, Cinderella may have a prince, but Cinderella had to wake her own damn self up. It was not, Cinderella, Snow White, all of them. We have to wake our own self up. It's not the job and the duty of the man to be able to carry our burdens and then to wake us up and to love us and to feed us and to wipe our ass. Like, that's just not what that is. It's nobody's job but ourselves. And I think that was the hard thing that I had to accept, was that my healing was my job to do. And as long as you take accountability for your healing, then nothing else is of importance, right? And so I personally remember being in a place where when I was in San Francisco, I started jogging, and I would jog down to the beach. Doing anything physically, as far as physical activity, to me was so rough because it really put myself in a place of challenge. it really forced me to forgive my body, to forgive myself, right? And I say that because a lot of people don't realize that you end up hating yourself. You end up hating your body because you think that it's your fault for being so comfortable in your skin that it caused you to have this inappropriate interaction with someone else, when really it's like, here you are 12 or 13, barely, sprouting, blooming, and, going through puberty. And, and there is a subconscious part of you that thinks it's your fault. And here I was, boy crazy, talking to a grown man who I thought I could come to and tell my guy secrets to, and he used it to his advantage and didn't respect the boundaries of where I was at as a child versus obviously him as an adult. And so I really had to go through layers and layers of forgiveness for myself as well as for the other individual. It was these experiences that had once perplexed me, but now I realize that with compassion for myself and the situation, you're looking at the eyes of forgiveness from a human standpoint, from humanity, right? You're looking at the fact that you're not the one who caused the situation, but you're being taught through this situation and how to care for yourself even deeper. And I remember crying my eyes out at the beach and just constantly pushing myself to be looking at my life through the lens of myself, through other people, the things that I wanted. I wanted a relationship with a man that was healthy. I wanted a family. I wanted children. I wanted to be able to care for them. I mean, I would sit down on this rock looking over the water as the sun hit it, and I was healing under the sun, which was powerful. And I was allowed to release the situation and to allow myself to heal and release the anger. And that is, I had a girlfriend introduce me to self-realization, Paramahansa Yogananda. That was kind of my inward ability to go within and to start meditating. And I would literally sit and force myself to go within no matter how bad it hurt. And so this is where the sacred feminine and sexuality comes in. I know friends who have been physically abused by men. And rather than hiding behind clothes, they come out with their beautiful sexuality and they share their skin, they share their essence, and they share the queen that is within, they share the divine feminine, the Mother Earth. And I think that is absolutely stunning and beautiful. I commend these women for showing up bold and not allowing, regardless of the eyes that a man may have, and not allowing things to be sexualized, but to say that I am art, I am beautiful, I am a queen, and you will honor me as such. And so, it was really a place where I have hated my body. I've loved my body. I've been disgusted by other bodies. I've also had to put myself in check and say, but it's not your body, so why do you care and why are you judging? What is it that they're expressing that you want to express, right? And it's like, I want to be naked. I want to be naked. I want to share the authenticity. I want to share my desires for being able to bring in art, sensuality through my sexuality, and knowing that I deserve all of the respect behind it, and that, regardless of me being molested or sexually abused, that we have a precious gift that is needing to be shared on a more conscious level. And so I really had a deeper insight of my truth. And it was funny because Vernon, my fiance, he was there supporting me and these other beautiful queens on the panel, and he had not even seen this level of woman in me. I mean, he's seen pieces, bits and pieces, but to see me in my element, and he just sat there and he told me, he said, you know what? I think that this panel was amazing, but I think that you deserve to have a bigger platform. This platform is too small for you. And I was honored to hear that, because I think we're so busy holding ourselves back and not giving ourselves credit and being judging ourselves within. I know through all the changes that I've been through, you guys, I used to self-medicate through food. I love food. I mean, I love food. But dealing with the emotions and dealing with the pain, or dealing with, I have childhood PTSD, dealing with the triggers, it was like, okay. But when I found out the statistics behind those who, women or boys that, girls, whomever, have been through sexual abuse, like what the actual stereotypes were, it was like, oh, well, we go to drugs and alcohol, we go to prostitution, we're highly depressed, manic depressed, and you have childhood PTSD, and you're promiscuous, all these things. And I'm going, what? And we hide behind our weight. And when they told me that, I was like, oh my gosh. Because I remember gaining weight in my first marriage. I was like, man, I'm going to see if he's going to love me for me. But it really was, can I love me for me? Can I do it? And then I got to the place in the point where I couldn't wear a thong. I was uncomfortable. I was like, somebody save me. And so I had to save myself, and I did, and it's a daily struggle. So these are real topics, and we continue to hold ourselves back and not have these discussions, which is the reason why I have the podcast that I have, to be able to share these topics and these things with all of you, because you do need to have a bigger platform to show who you are in whatever capacity you are comfortable with sharing who you are and what you've gone through. There are things that are traumatizing, but we have the power to change them into unconditional love, peace, kindness. We have the power to reclaim who we are in the divine feminine. Sacred sexuality, to me, is being the boss in total charge of herself. It's stepping into a deeper piece of leadership and consciously sharing ourselves in mind, body, and spirit, and stop isolating ourselves from the world. Having the courage to be sexually authentic, whether it's we show up with makeup, or whether it's we show up with purple hair, or whether it's we show up being naked, half naked, or being naked in our truth. Sacred sexuality is about intimacy and having an intimate relationship with self. I didn't understand intimacy until probably about 2011, 2012, when a dear friend of mine who was like my work mom had this conversation with me, and she was just like, you know what, Latoya, you need to grow up. You have this idea and this list in your head, this physical list, right? And I wrote down this list, you guys. I know you guys have done this. I'm not the only one. You wrote down your what I wish in a man list, okay? I must have named over 100 what I wish in a man, in an ideal partner. And she about cracked up. She was like, oh my God. She was like, so you expect him to be all of this, right? And I was like, yeah, I can have it. I was being overconfident and ego and all that. And she was just like, you're not going to be able to get all of this in one man. Do you know who you're dealing with, And so as much as I love men now, I understand a little bit better about what she was saying, I mean, at 27, 28 years old, what the fuck do you know? So, but I always kept that close to me. And when she said, you have to build an intimate relationship with your partner, and this has nothing to do with sex, but this has everything to do with partnership, companionship, having a real relationship via words, being who you are, being true to self. Like, when you're able to get to this place, then that's when comes the real love and the intimacy and the respect that you have for your partner and they have for you. And so I really made sure that any guy that I dated after that I was trying to, do my best to have a more intimate relationship with this individual, right? And to move sex out the way, because sex kind of just always got in the way, right? You meet somebody, you have this attraction, you sleep with them, and then it's like, okay, well, now the real chemistry is gone. There's nothing more to chase. Therefore, you don't get any calls, you don't get any text messages, there's no effort being made. And is it like that all the time? No, but now that the world is changing, absolutely, because there are more women out here than there are men, but there's also more women out here who are not owning their sacred sexuality and their divine feminine, and they are not courageously or authentically showing up and being themselves. They are just all about the physical experiences, but they are not about the true heart-to-heart connections because they don't have it within themselves. Whatever you are seeking and seeing is what you need to fix within yourself if you're not getting it. And so I wanted to build a deeper relationship and connection. So I cut myself off from having sex. I would say probably a year at a time. And allowing myself to open up and embrace who I was and have that true divine connection. It wasn't until 2014 that I really, really dug deep into wanting to serve others and knowing that this path and journey was not just for me, it was also for others. And so I leave you with this. What does your sacred sexuality look like? What does it mean? And how are you going to develop a deeper divine connection within yourself? What have you not been addressing and what have you been holding back? Are you willing to be authentic and in your true skin? Are you willing to acknowledge the hurt, the pain, and compassionately detach and find mercy for yourself? That is what we are all about. That is the piece of sacred feminine. So this is only part 1. We're going to be going into part 2 and digging even deeper, because we might be all born queens and being a queen is part of our birthright, but until we get into the level of confidence that we need to be able to fully express all of that, can we really be able to share our gifts with the world and to really move forward in divine alignment. Thanks for joining the Manifest That Shit podcast, episode 8, and I will be seeing you guys for part 2 of Sacred Sexuality and Divine Feminine. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Manifest That Shit podcast. With me, your host, LaToya Beverly. I am your spiritual guide and business coach. If you want to hear more about my services and how you can work with me one-to-one, feel free to reach out to me at manifestyourlegacy.com or follow me on IG at Manifest Your Legacy or Facebook at Manifest Your Legacy Today. I so look forward to connecting with each and every single one of you and touching your soul and heart. And you know how I like it, honey. Real, raw, uncut, no bullshit, and no strings attached. Just all success and all love. So I look forward to seeing you on another episode.